Hello, it's Dave Knight here at 123daytrade.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Today is Thursday, October 4th, 2018. I want to talk about a trade that I saw and I didn't have the guts to hold on, but I want to record this because it goes under the Gann fourth time through. Alright, so this is the setup. This is the blue bar, high volume bar right here that we have, 2388 coming in at 846. By the way, if you followed this in the morning, if you would have come in on the open, it was a break-even trade on the first trade. Then you had this set up, and that really didn't do anything. But I want to talk about, so I set up this range. So this 2388 sets up this range between 7554 and 7565. And the trade that I want to talk about is the Gann fourth time through signal that I saw. So, all right. So here's the setup. This is what I call RBV stopping volume. When you get a culmination of 5 bars, usually they have to be above the 500 mark. The more that you can get above 1,000, the better off. But you want to get at least the other color bar coming through here. Now this is what I call RBV stopping volume. Now this stopping volume, does it offset? So we're talking about a concept that I'm calling offsetting volume that I did yesterday, right? So this right here offsets that 2388 bar that we see previous. So now we have an offsetting, and I guess you could look at it kind of as a tiebreaker. Which way is the market going to be going? So since I'm looking pretty much one direction only for the most part, what I saw with the stopping volume is that, all right, if it doesn't shoot up quickly, what are we looking at? So what I saw is this is a lower high pattern. So we had a high here at 930. We had a high here at 953. And then we see the highs right around here and also within the range that 2388 bar go back. So if we go back to the range of this bar right here, this is the range that, buy above, sell below. So it wasn't able to fight its way out of it. And what we can see is what I call the Gann fourth time through. Not that I made this up. This is a concept that Gann put together. And where I got involved in it was right here. That was 75.47. And what I was looking for was a 3P move to head down. And this 3P move was worth 73 ticks today. Now, where I screwed up is right here. I've been going with the concept that once it breaks, I don't want to see it come back. I want to see it break quickly to the area that I'm looking for. I'm going to have to give it one more time inside that range before I move to break even on it. So yeah, when it does break, it could possibly come and run me out of the trade and I take a hit on it. That's something that I've got to be willing to take from now on, because the power of this trade is just too great. Once it does break, it does go its 3P movement, and this is what I want to record and show for me personally, not to because when you're looking at the small stuff, right? So here's the small stuff. We're looking at the small stuff, trading inside a range. We've already determined where we want to be long and where we'd like to be short in this range. So did we get in short below the range? Yes, we did. Did it go above the range and stay there? No, it did not go above the buy range back from the bar that we saw previous back here on this area. So I've got to be confident in what I'm doing, and you can see that the market's really trailed off. So don't sweat the small stuff is the saying. Damn nabbit. Don't sweat the small stuff, right? So here comes the trade setup in through here. Here comes the trade setup in through here. 1, 2, 3, 4 break. So we look here, 1, 2, 3, fourth time break. It just barely looks above it on the third time. And then you see the break. And this right here was a very good solid entry point. And I've got to put the old trust in my arsenal, that when I believe something is active, I've got to trust that I'm in a good position and allow the market to work in my favor. I got scared because I thought we were going back up to pivot, and there is the key operative word that I used, right? Scared, which is a form of fear. And I used the word trust. So yes, I had a good setup, but my trust in it allowed the fearfulness of the reverse of this, because I didn't want to take another hit today because I took a hit yesterday, allow the market that was worth 73 ticks that I could have had on a good trade setup. So that's what I want to impress upon myself. And I record this not just for me, for you. I record this more for me a lot of times, to give me the faith and confidence that what I see is correct. So look at this. This move comes in here, and when you look at the bigger picture, here at 10:37, we finally see a nice trade setup. It took all morning. Basically, it took almost 2.5 hours, a little over 2.5 hours, for the correct trade setup to set up, and you'd have been grinding it out up until then. But that 2.5 hour, was it worth the wait to collect 730 bucks? So here is the question mark right now. Is a 2.5 hour wait worth, if you're trading real money, is it worth 730? So in other words, your cost to reward ratio, right? So that is, if you look at let's just say 3 hours of time. So is 3 hours of time worth, that's plus 20, 40, 60. So it's plus $20 an hour minimum right there. So how many jobs do you know pay over $20 an hour without a college degree or whatever, right? So I remember back in the day when I was working for a marketing company inside a firm, that was pretty good money back in the day. You know, when I started as an accountant, I was only making about, in the early 90s, I came in and started, I was making $30,000 a year when I started, and my max when I was working for someone else, when working for the other person, the max I had at any given time was a salary of around $50,000. So now I'm working for myself, and what I have to ask myself, you know, if, you know, is it worth it? Is these kind of moves worth holding on and waiting? You know, if you have to wait around 3 hours to grab, and this is per contract, so that's only one contract. So all of a sudden, if you're able to escalate that into, say, 5 contracts at 73, now you're talking, right? All of a sudden, this is starting to make sense, right? 10 contracts at 73. Now that could be, on this particular trade, that could be $7,300 day, right? So is $7,300, is that worth, if that's the max that I look at, the trading strategy that I'm working on, to be able to collect $7,300 on a trade setup that I believe in? So this is my max gain that I would like to get at some point in my future. So all of a sudden, if you look at this as relating to one, so yeah, so if you can win in one contract more than you can lose, therefore you should be able, once you get to 10, all in, all out, you should be able to, one should translate out to 10. It's just, you know, you're carrying the contracts from 1 out to 10 or 2 to 3 and so forth. So when you get greater leverage, you're still hopefully keeping your same winning percentage, and you're still keeping your same loss percentage as well, and you're still been able to pull out more on your wins than you're willing to take on your losses. So at max loss today, if it would have went against me, it was 20 ticks, but I was running at half of that. So it was a 10 ticks hit against me if it would go against. This is 1R, and I was running between 10 to 14 ticks on per trade today. So I wasn't actually going at a 1R. I was going between 1/2 R to 2/3 R today in my trades. So is it worth it? I would argue yes, it is worth it. And then the old word of allow yourself, you know, the trust to see something and know what you're doing at this point. So if I look at what I liked about the trade, I kind of talked about it, right? We had a lower high pattern coming through here and the lower high over there, right? We saw the stopping volume coming in that offsets the 2300 volume that we saw before, and then we see the true move come in after that. So this is the concept that I'm working on in the background, what I call, you know, offsetting volume. And then, you know, the key concept of this is ties back into the tiebreaker that I talk about as well. I don't know if this helps you or has hurt you, but that's what I'm seeing right now, and hopefully as it translates out to my future trading, once I pull myself out of the junk that I'm in right now, I'm feeling pretty good about what I can and can't do. On the long side, I did take a couple trades today, and following advice of a gentleman who old, I think, Oil Trading Group, I believe, gave me, you know, go 10-10 on the longs. So I was trying a couple times at 10-10 today, 10 tick, 10 stop. So I'm giving myself basically the end of this year to pull my trading strategy together to the point that that when the time 2019 starts, I'm funded, and more importantly, I stay funded. So that's what the overall goal is for me right now, is not just get funded, but stay funded, and then grow the account to be able to open up the secondary futures account that I want. So I feel pretty confident in what I'm seeing. Now it comes down to, you know, it's the old fear versus greed right now that I run into, and most traders run into an issue of these kind of things, that you see things, and then the big key word is trust. Do you trust yourself enough in what you see to have the faith and confidence to hold it and to move on? Now, I didn't catch this move at the end of the day. This was the move I was looking at right here. This move right here was the move that I saw, that I had. I had the trade set up. I was in it at 75.47, and I just didn't. As I look over what I did, when it went here, I went to break even, and obviously it took me out. Right here, it only moved 5 ticks. So even if I followed behind it, behind the break line, a little bit behind this, all of a sudden, you know, 5 ticks above the break line at 59, you know, I still running a 12 tick stop at that. I mean, the loss that I could have possibly had maybe was 120 on this trade. You know, a 12 tick loss. So one of my biggest issues that I have as a trader, and not having a lot of money to back me up, is being penny wise, dollar foolish, right? This is something that I run into, you know, more times than not. This is my biggest nemesis that I have right now, is not having the faith and confidence that I'm going to have to stay into a trade. That and how many times can you say that you find a trade that you would put a gold star in front of and say, this is a trade setup that I have a gold star, that I believe if this happens, you know, all of a sudden my win to loss ratio is greater than so in other words, my win ratio with the profit margin to go with it is greater than the loss side of it. So these are things that I'm working out in the back of my head, but I wanted to record this video not just for me, but for you to be able to review as well. So that's it. I hope you had obviously a better trading day than me. As you can see, I only got 5 ticks off of 5 trades. That's not a real good day. And when I could have, the woulda, shoulda, coulda side of that was worth 73 ticks. At minimum, 63 ticks. All right, talk to you later. Bye for now.